he's had a real problem with Elon from the beginning of this thing, but it's like he's in this leftist thought bubble. He is in the most leftist thought bubble available, which is Hollywood. And and I think also, he famously, there's some videos of him in blackface, and those came out, and he had to apologize for them, and I think he took that hit and like really doubled down the other direction.
President Trump's astounding $500 million lawsuit and the ensuing pandemonium just hit Jimmy Kimmel hard. From Megyn Kelly and Joe Rogan, who wasted no time in attacking him, it was pure gold. Like an open mic comedian who has lost their sense of humor, Rogan scolded Kimmel. On the other hand, Megyn Kelly cut through that Hollywood smuggling like a scalpel through soft butter.
I struggle to even mention that guy's name. He's such an absolute, I can't stand him. But anyway, it's just my thought bubble out loud. We took a look at some of their reactions to the news of Trump's win. Look at this.
Hey there. How are you doing? If you watch the show regularly, I'm guessing you're not doing great. Yeah, me neither.
Let's be honest, it was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go, for healthcare, for our climate. It was a terrible night for poor people, for our allies in Ukraine, for NATO.
Cost to produce Jimmy Kimmel's show, I guarantee you it's tens and tens of millions. It could be as much as 100 million. I have no idea. You know how much Tucker's video cost? Nothing. You know how much Jimmy Kimmel, how many people he gets tuning in on an average night? Just last week, his average was, in the overall, meaning all viewers, 1.5 million. In the key demo, 236,000. Tucker would have been embarrassed to pull that on any night he was on the Fox News channel.
This is a televised takedown, not merely a roast, as evidenced by Kimmel's self-righteous tirades and the subsequent legal flurry. It's messy. Previously strutting around late-night TV as the moral authority, the man is suddenly fumbling in real time, as if he's just realized he's being made fun of. To be clear, this was no inactive studio chit-chat. Rogan was giggling aloud while exposing Kimmel's hypocrisy with that scathing sarcasm of his. Megyn, on the other hand, quietly lay out the facts, cold, exact, and nasty without even raising her voice. No nonsense, no compassion. Then the unexpected turn of events occurred. Kimmel's career was hit by the $500 million hammer of President Trump, who is still in office. Rogan's response, is this the genuine thing? Yes, it is. And the wilder it becomes, the better.
Not a chance in hell that this is funny or gonna work. And when you see those flat, corny, late-night monologue jokes with no audience, Colbert, there's Jimmy Kimmel, there's Fallon. What they're doing is just like reading off of a teleprompter. So a bunch of really good joke writers wrote them some stuff, and then they're playing to the audience, and the audience is like laughing, so they get this feedback, and they know how to do that. They stand there, and there's applause signs, and then there's producers. There's the warm-up guy that's literally telling people to clap. They're like, okay, explain to the people. Yeah. Okay, when Jimmy comes out, I want a big round of applause. Let's practice this right.
This is survival of the loudest, not late-night television. This wasn't a letter from a sweaty lawyer or a warning shot. The jaw was hit with a $500 million haymaker. Joe Rogan, even before he finished the headline, he was laughing. Reclining back, smiling, and wide-eyed as if he had just witnessed a kangaroo knock someone out of the ring, a mixture of pure joy and incredulity. This headline was hilarious, out of all the ones that might have been made. Finally, the master of safe, pre-written jabs, Jimmy Kimmel, poked the wrong bear. The animal with the Justice Department's keys is not just any bear either. The entire weight of the federal legal system is now bearing down on him. Rogan jumped in like a child unwrapping a video game sequel that was outlawed. A $500 million lawsuit against Kimmel. It would be like a house cat posing a threat to a freight train. Audacious, possibly foolish indeed. Hallucinogenic indeed. It's just the beginning, too. The president was obviously drinking a lot of alcohol if Kimmel believed he would laugh off those nightly jabs.
You know who's going to be hosting the Academy Awards this year? Jimmy Kimmel. Do you know who's worn blackface repeatedly and spoken inner city sort of urban accent saying she needs to darn those socks? Jimmy Kimmel as Oprah, as a fat-suited, black-faced, darning socks Oprah. Now, if you are of the left, that's fine. If you are of the right and happen to just say, hey, people used to wear blackface and nobody freaked out about it, you get fired.
According to Joe Rogan, Kimmel is untouchable because he hides behind a monologue as if the desk were a force field. However, the attention that comes with that spotlight comes with receipts, not immunity. Joe criticized Kimmel's conceit, comparing his performance to the comical equivalent of a chihuahua yelling commands at a SWAT team, loud, unyielding, and completely out of consideration. And now that bark has a $500 million bill attached to it. Joe also made fun of Kimmel's jokes, criticizing them as warm milk, safe, uninteresting, and forgettable, meant to make interns laugh just enough to keep their employment. Then Joe really got to the point. Jimmy still believes he's the rebellious cool guy at the cafeteria table. Joe angrily said, "You're not a rebel with a Hollywood laugh track. You're a puppet on the network. Do you roast Trump every night?" Rogan compared it to boasting about the dent and hurling pebbles at a freight train. It is an echo chamber rather than comedic warfare.
Horrified after yours truly said in 2018 that people used to don dark makeup in order to imitate well-known black celebrities and it wasn't a big deal. Absolutely ate up the performance by Hollywood darling Mr. Kimmel, whose blackface costumes included his oft-repeated bit as basketball star Karl Malone.
Long ago, the audience stopped applauding. The same train that Kimmel made fun of is now suing him for the cost of a private island, even though his antics did garner attention. Imagining Jimmy erasing previous clips like a scared child before the principal enters, Joe Rogan couldn't. Stop giggling, but this lawsuit was psychological warfare, not just money. Joe explained. Trump wanted to live rent-free in Kimmel's imagination in addition to winning. Rogan made fun of Jimmy for perspiring during lunch breaks, muttering legal jargon to baristas and searching for courtroom attire guidelines on Google at 3 in the morning. This was an invasion of the mind, not a court case. The irony was Joe's coldest shot. He made his living by making fun of famous people, and now he's complaining because one of them finally responded, and not with laughter. Rogan compared it to the school bully complaining after the quiet child retaliates. The only Trump with a $500 million hammer is this silent youngster. What about those Trump jokes? According to Joe, they were simple, rehashed Twitter-style insult-sweet content concealed by a condescending delivery. Jimmy's belief that it was still all a game was what made Joe laugh the most.
We're 3 times what Jimmy Kimmel gets. And Tucker's little basement video that he did from clearly like his cabin that he broadcasts out of Maine in literally has 21 million views. Okay, 21 million views. Whereas, as I point out, on ABC, a massive network that comes into your home for free, that you have to make no effort to find, at best, Jimmy Kimmel can get 1.5 million. He needs to have a little self-perspective before going out there and hurling these insults because he looks a little sick.
For some reason, Kimmel convinced himself that he was spearheading a revolution in comedy. Spoiler alert, you're not Jon Stewart, Joe stated. He should have rewritten that poor script years ago, according to Stewart himself. Joe concluded by joking that this lawsuit might be the most exciting item to air on Jimmy Kimmel Live in 10 years. What else is poetic justice if not that? The show's lawsuit garnered media attention, not because of celebrity replays or uncomfortable interviews about capes and flip-flops. Joe was still giggling. It wasn't Megyn Kelly across town. As if she had seen this circus before, she entered cool and collected. This was karma to her, not chaos. For a jester who forgot he wasn't the king, the lawsuit was unavoidable and a farewell. The clown went too far, as Megyn stated, and the monarch swung down with a golden gavel. Kimmel's biggest error was to mistake Hollywood acclaim for genuine power. She didn't hold back.
With that kind of stuff is it continues to go in the same direction where more and more things become forbidden and toxic, to the point where You know, the Elon Musk joking around about my pronouns are prosecute Fauci. Jimmy Kimmel made a tweet back to him. He said, your pronouns are ass and hole, which is pretty funny. But then,
Did he really?
Yes. And so then I read that, and there was people saying, please don't joke about pronouns. It's transphobic to joke about pronouns. So they were chiding him.
For real, Kimmel believed that Trump was a people's warrior because he made fun of him in front of applauding studio extras. He was actually just reciting safe, rehashed jokes that had been written by others, with a sarcasm so subtle that it could be heard during a nap. Drab, forgettable, and without bite, Megyn Kelly described his comedy as a lullaby. The audience dozing off before joke was the only danger. It's a broken illusion now Kimmel was sued for his jokes, and nobody is applauding. Megyn dissected him, not just offered criticism. Calm, observant, and accurate, he was funny. Once she recalled back in the crazy days of The Man Show. However, that Jimmy has left. The result is a corporate spokesperson that is sanitized and desperate for attention. She compared him to a high school outlaw who became a hall monitor, and now he's confused because no one is falling for the ruse. The actual punchline was then given by her.
Night was the 96th Academy Awards show, and while you might have missed it, there was one clear winner. No, not Oppenheimer. It was sanctimonious leftists for their lead role in pretending they are better than you. Several people shared in this achievement. Winner number one, Jimmy Kimmel. For the fourth time, Kimmel hosted the Oscars before an adoring crowd of Hollywood stars who laughed and curried favor with the man who wore blackface so many times.
For years, Kimmel made fun of Trump as if he were untouchable because of the desk and cameras. However, disparaging a sitting president who has a large legal team. That's dangerous, not courageous. Even more deeply, Megyn Kelly cut. It wasn't brave to make fun of Trump back then. It was like shouting at your own reflection. Minimal danger, maximum smugness. The roaster was torched because he believed he would never be sued, which she referred to as karmic comedy. She claimed that free expression was not at issue here. It was about low-cost shots finally having a cost. Furthermore, you cannot claim victimization when the bear retaliates if your job is based on prodding it. She imagined Kimmel racing to rewrite monologues without setting off another legal grenade, withdrawing to his writer's room like he was in a fallout shelter. She grinned and compared it to seeing a magician grab for a rabbit that has already been offered as proof.
Going to care anymore. It's like you're seeing it take place with late night television. Nobody gives a fuck about it anymore.
I know.
And it's slowly, you have a bad business model and you're not adapting.
Yeah, the creativity's gone for late night comedy.
Megyn had not finished. The lawsuit broke the myth that late night hosts are immune to consequences because they live in a comedy bubble. She said, Kimmel lived off of anti-Trump jokes for years, pretending to be a brave representative of the public, but he never remembered one rule: don't hurl bricks at the president if you're in a glass studio. She said, Kimmel is a cog in a self-congratulatory media machine that loves punching but panics when Trump hits back before cutting off. When Trump swings, it's a catastrophe, but when Jimmy does it every night, it's just jokes, she ridiculed. The double standard, then the sting hit. To be honest, she grinned. This lawsuit may be Jimmy's best move in years. At least people are now again watching. She continued from there. According to her, Trump might unintentionally restore Kimmel's prominence rather than simply bankrupting him. She portrayed it as though it were a movie trailer, Jimmy by himself, reading the complaint while evocative lighting and dramatic music swelled as reality struck in.
For a writer, can't you tell?
Jimmy Kimmel?
Yeah.
No, it's him, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
good. That's a good one.
He's a comic.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, he used to host The Man Show. I mean, he's done some pretty outrageous back in the day.
Yeah.
You know, for hee-hees and haw-haws.
No, that's a good joke on top of a good joke.
Yeah, it's a good joke.
This was a real $500 million situation, not a joke. Joking that Jimmy might need to sell his desk cups, cry a few crocodile tears, and ask former celebrities for favors in order to survive, Megyn twisted the knife. Then she said something that no one else dared to say. This was about sending a message, not just about keeping Kimmel quiet. Trump was aiming to mark the end of celebrity activism without repercussions, not merely a legal victory. If you're going to shoot the king, you had better hit him, and Jimmy missed like a baby with blindfolds. Joe and Megyn, two distinct voices, stood together in shock and laughter as the dust fell. There was more to this than a simple lawsuit. Legal documents were involved in the roast.
Tell you, he's not the worst. The Daily Show has the worst ratings. They only have 366,000 people watching that show. During the Jon Stewart years, it was over 2 million. Now it's down to 300,000. Seth Meyers, absolutely dreadful. He doesn't even have 1 million, 778,000. I mean, in network television, this is, you don't have to pay for it. It's there when you turn on your TV, you plug it in. That's a dreadful number. Greg Gutfeld on cable, which you do have to pay for, it has more than double the numbers of Seth Meyers. Jimmy Kimmel, 1.5 million averaging, also equally horrible. And then there's The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, who back when I was there, 2017-18, he was averaging 2.3 million a night. Now he's down to 1.3 million, Jesse. And he cannot afford the "you are toxic" controversy because he's also pulling in reportedly over $15 million a year. So you got all that money for 1.5 million in audience, which is a nothing. I mean, the middle of the day on Fox News gets that, or at least used to before the Tucker controversy.
This time, Kimmel wasn't the source of the jokes. Rather, they were directed against him. Joe Rogan was laughing and likening it to someone putting their face in a wedding cake. Which twist is the most ironic? Not in a popular video, but rather in a heavy manila envelope containing a $500 million lawsuit. Jimmy at last captured Trump's attention. When Joe said, "It sounds like something a fourth grader made up except it's real," he chuckled. Kimmel stabbed the incorrect bear. This bear has fought media wars for longer than Kimmel has been relevant, owns skyscrapers, and travels with a legal SWAT team, Joe remarked. Trump dropped a legal wrecking ball instead of responding to the tweet. Kimmel has run out of jokes and is perspiring beneath lights that seem a bit too bright right now. Joe smiled, anticipating the next move. Kimmel may face a front row of lawyers next time he cracks a Trump joke defamation. The musical is real now. Joe Rogan got reflective. Being loud doesn't make you brave. A mic and audience don't make you untouchable. Kimmel thought he was slaying monsters, but now the tank Trump is smiling with a lawsuit at his door. Jimmy frantically Googling how many jokes equal defamation made Megyn Kelly laugh. The renegade's about to meet real resistance. She said no hashtags, just cold legal action. Kimmel got too comfortable mocking Trump, but the rules have changed. As Joe and Megyn wrapped up, they made it clear Kimmel's no longer a jester, he's in the arena. And that $500 million suit, just the opening act.